This computer. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fitness Oracle, episode 2. Today with us we have Spiros Nicolaou. He studied kinesiology both at Brock and York University here in Ontario, Canada. He became a certified personal trainer in 1999. His passions is acquiring knowledge through weightlifting, and beginning his journey in wealth creation and human performance. Spiros, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on the show, John. And I'm happy to be your first guest.
I know that you're the first one. You're the first victim of the show.
Happy to be the first guinea pig.
So, tell us, what got you into the fitness industry in the first place?
We have to go back a long way to my childhood. Basically, from when I was a little kid, I didn't have a lot of friends or anything else like that. And as I was, I didn't have a lot of friends. I was teased as a kid, bullied a little bit because I was a little bit different, more nerdy, more into the intellectual side of life. But I always used to play with my cousins because I lived with my cousins, and I sucked at sports. So I always wanted to become better at sports. Honestly, John, I was so bad, I couldn't even hit a tennis ball with a baseball bat when it was lobbed underhand. That's how horrible I was in sports. And I sucked at everything that I did. But, and I always had that drive to be better because I was sick of being made fun of, being teased. So I had that drive to show up everybody else. But what really got me into fitness was when I was watching TV and I happened to turn the channel and there was a bodybuilding show on TV. And that was when bodybuilding was on TV. And I saw the physiques of the of the men's bodybuilding, the female bodybuilders. And I just went to myself and I said, wow, that's freaking awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's just absolutely inspiring. And then you get into like the Incredible Hulk and Lou Ferrigno and everything else like that, and what he's done with his body and how that inspired everybody. And then obviously the WWF, or now the WWE, with the wrestlers and Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage and all the great physiques there. So that's what kind of inspired me to look into fitness. And ever since high school, I really just bought every bodybuilding magazine I can get and just really dove right into it, even though I was more into science and geeky, into physics and chemistry and everything else like that.
Yeah, you're in good hands here, because I think we're both geeky in the science stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's interesting that you would say that you were bullied in high school. I know
elementary school, yeah.
In elementary
when I was
school.
Younger. Yeah.
I know myself. I was also bullied in high school, and that's actually what pushed me into the fitness and bodybuilding industry too. What were some of your inspirations while you were during your transformation period?
So some of my inspirations, and especially into the fitness, obviously, you can't really get into talking about bodybuilding and fitness without talking about the Weeders, because everything was the Joe Weider magazines and everything else like that, Muscle and Fitness, and everything else like that. What truly inspired me, though, and I really wanted to like delve in and get all the information that I want, but what really inspired me to take it up to the next level was when I learned about Dorian Yates. Dorian Yates is probably one of my favorite bodybuilders of all time. And then the principles of the HIIT style training, Mike Menser, and everything else like that, I really delved into it. My goal was to really learn about human performance, how to maximize human performance, and, not just for myself, but to help others as well, because everybody's on some sort of journey. Right. And there's more people who are going to be like us who have similar stories.
Right. You still think that Dorian Yates is one of the key people in your life as he is right now? Because we all know that he's had a very interesting transformation from you know, the big atypical bodybuilder, you know, macho man kind of thing to Mr. You know, Mr. He's practicing yoga and doing ayahuasca and experimenting with drugs and this and that. So, would you say that he's still kind of intriguing in your eyes?
You know what? His story of getting into the bodybuilding is definitely intriguing. I'm not a big fan of like the psychedelic drugs, so to speak, in the ash, asquanda or however you say it is, or the weed. I'm allergic to weed or any type of hemp or CBD or anything else like that. So I wouldn't even want to take that stuff anyway. But anything that alters the mind, it's not something that I want. It's not something that I recommend to anybody. Again, I've always been into sports performance and performance enhancement. So I studied like I've never taken, but I've studied like the sports enhancement drugs and everything else like that. Honestly, I couldn't afford to take them if I wanted to. So because if I was going to do them, I would want to do them properly with all the off cycles and everything else like that, the post cycle recovery therapies and everything else like that. And honestly, that's all that stuff. Doing it properly is just expensive, and
Yeah, it really
I wouldn't want to
is.
experiment. I wouldn't want to experiment with my body that way.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Mhm.
Um, You also told me once that you're into powerlifting. So could you explain the difference between the powerlifting and bodybuilding for people and what triggered you to go towards those two, like the bodybuilding and powerlifting?
Well, I'm more in like I was more astonished by strongmen like Bill Kazmaier, and others can't remember their names, but all the classic like world strongmans in the 90s, early 2000s. Kazmaier is one of my favorite guys. I've seen him in a conference at the Society for Weight Training Injury Specialists. So they had him as one of the speakers, and he's just phenomenal. Just talking, I remember him relating a story about how he was doing a meet for powerlifting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the squat, the deadlift, and the bench press. Um, and he's telling us there, I can't remember what the first event, but he was doing the first event, which was the squat, and then he tore his hamstring, one of his hamstrings, while he did the world record at that time. The next event, I think it was a deadlift, and he sat around and with a torn hamstring set another world record, but tore the other hamstring. You know. And then just who he is, Kazmaier, and he sat down, he went into the bench press with two torn hamstrings, and he set the world record in the bench press with two torn hamstrings. You know, and I've been fascinated. Like I'm a very strong guy. I don't look like I'm super strong. I'm very strong. Throughout my fitness journey, I've been able to get up to squatting like 500 pounds
Wow.
for 5 reps. While I was in university, I think the strongest I've ever done dumbbells on the incline was 90 pounds
Mm.
with the incline dumbbells. I did a three plates on each side for bent over rows. I was
Wow.
never a strong deadlifter. I was never a strong bench presser, mainly because I subluxed. I fell off a bike when I was young,
Mm-hmm.
and I landed on my shoulder, and I subluxed my SC joint, which is the collarbone attaching to the sternum, and
Oof.
then also the collarbone attaching to the shoulder. So I
Wow.
subluxed that. So it was a slight dislocation. The bike was totaled. I ended up picking the bike up. So I have a very high pain tolerance as well. And that's also why I like strongman, because I don't feel that pain. I have a very high pain tolerance. The bike was totaled. I picked it up, carried it home, about 10-minute walk, and I'm bleeding and everything, and I'm bruised. And I was going over to my cousin's house because we were going to go play tennis and baseball, and I had a baseball game that later on that evening. My cousins
Mm-hmm.
were my coach. I ended up just packing an ice pack onto my shoulder, put some bandages on, walked 45 minutes in the sweltering heat to my cousin's house, Got there, put some more thing, and I'm like, I don't know if I can play baseball today. Right? I'm looking at my shoulder; it's all black and blue. My cousin comes running over across the street because my cousins lived across the street at the time, and he's like, "Let me take a look." And he's doing, "Can you do this? And can you do this?" And does it hurt again? I have a high pain tolerance. So I'm like, "No." He's like, "You're fine. Go. You can play."
Wow.
My cousin doesn't remember that when I tell the story, but I'm like, it's all good, right? But because of that injury, though, I've never been a good bench presser. Bench press has never really felt comfortable for me with the barbell, so I've never gone into doing that. But what really got me into doing strongman, again, I love lifting heavy. I love lifting heavy. Sorry, I love the Dorian Yates philosophy. When I was working selling fitness equipment, there was this incident where the forklift died and we had to plug it in because we were getting a truck, and it was at the other side of the warehouse. And me and my manager was like, we've got to push this together. And then a customer came in. So he's like, it's my turn to deal with the customer. Just chill and wait. And then half an hour passed by, still dealing with the customer. I said, screw this. And I just pushed the forklift back to where it was. So think about it. The forklift was about 7,500 to 8,000 pounds without water, distilled water, and obviously there's still water, so whatever weight that is in all the batteries. And I just pushed it, so it's pushing it up one side. So think of it as almost the distance of a crosswalk, a very large intersection in the city of Toronto. So you push it up one section of the crosswalk, you have to get onto the forklift, slowly turn a dead forklift wheel. Imagine no power steering.
Yeah,
get out, push it, get back in, turn the wheel again, drain it out, and keep pushing it, and then do it again, going all the way back. Wow. And I did that by myself. It took about half an hour, 45 minutes. I can't remember.
That's it was quite a workout.
That was quite a workout, but it was fun. I mean, how many people can say they've actually pushed a forklift?
Not many. I guess I just know one right now.
Yeah, you know, a couple of strongmen, and you know, a lot of the new world strongmen like Brian Shaw, they're awesome guys. Nick Best, trying to remember the one from Britain, the Beast, Eddie Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Like really awesome guys and everything else like that. And they're a great inspiration as well.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're I follow those guys as well. They're hugely great, hugely amazing people. Mm-hmm. What key tip would you leave? What's one key tip that you would put out there for people to lead a healthy, happy life?
Well, if you really want to live a healthy, happy life, and it's hard to keep it down to one key tip, but the big thing is to know what you want in life, and then to go out and to go after it with absolute passion and desire.
Amazing. Mm-hmm. What would you say to somebody who's not really seeing that in their life right now?
Well, if you're not really seeing, most of the time, if you're not seeing the passion in your life, it's because you really haven't clearly defined what you want in life. And this is what I see a lot in a lot of young individuals and a lot of people who don't have, who've never experienced success in their life. So one of the big things is to try and work on goal setting and really define what you want in life, and then just repeat it over and over again, and then associate an emotion with what you want, and then go out there and take action.
So something like setting affirmations.
Exactly. But let's say if you're writing down your goal, seeing yourself accomplish that goal overall, repeating it twice a day, once out loud type of thing. And then just really believing it and giving gratitude towards it, and then asking yourself, what actions do I need to take to get there?
Was there a time in your life where you actually had to implement that?
Yeah, like I said, action was the biggest thing that I had to do. I've always had like the motivation. I've had to figure out the action and the game plans from that. So I was blessed that I was always self-motivated. I always had the drive. I had a little bit of drive from anger, again, from being teased and everything else like that. So I was an angry person when I was younger. I've mellowed out now. here, but it was always the drive to be the best and to hell with everybody else type of thing when I was uh, younger. But it was always, looking to take action. What do I have to do? How do I have to practice? For me, action was the key step, and everything else you could figure it out later on.
I know Dorian Yates actually used anger in his workout routine. So when you started talking about anger and how it can help you motivate you,
Mm-hmm.
it triggered in me that thought process of Dorian Yates as well.
Mm-hmm.
Used that, and I mean, he won Mr. Olympia with a torn bicep using that same tactic. So yeah, anger is a good motivator sometimes.
Yep, absolutely. Also, seeing yourself, anger is a good motivator. Also, seeing yourself has an avatar, and I think we've discussed this personally because you and I are friends, John. But looking at an avatar and who you believe. So a lot of times when I go, and again, Dorian Yates motivated me, but a lot of times when I go into the lift, I would channel my inner Dorian Yates, or I would channel Hercules, both of us being Greek and everything else like that. Uh, getting that thumbs up from you.
Yep.
And also sitting down. And one of the big things that helped me was learning, and what I credit Dorian is learning how to feel the muscle work. So sitting down, visualizing how I want the exercise to go before I actually did the exercise, felt how it would feel completed and how awesome it would feel,
Mhm.
and then go and do the exercise.
Yep. That's a great way of training. I know I've used that too on myself, and it works amazing.
Mhm.
What's the one thing that you would hope to leave this world with?
Well, the one thing I would say that I would hope to leave upon this world is a legacy of helping people, become better. I hope I'm remembered for helping people be their best selves, driving human performance and evolution really to the next level.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
If you had to go to one place in this world to visit, not to live, to visit, where would the first place that you would go?
That's an interesting question. I'm from Cyprus, and I love Cyprus, and I haven't been there in a while. So Cyprus is kind of home, but it's the island of Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. And Cyprus is absolutely gorgeous, and I think that's got to be a place of my next travel. Even though I've been there twice, it's got to be a place of my next travel that I really want to go and just enjoy the food, the beauty of the beaches, and the environment. It's just so awesome there, and I miss it. So it's one of the places that I really wanted to go.
Cool.
Hmm.
I've never been. I've always wanted to go.
You should go.
So what was your Eureka moment? When did it happen? And what did you learn from it?
So I think what really changed my life was I had a good mentor. He was kind of like a brother to me. He ended up marrying a friend of my family. So this mentor, James, he introduced me into the world of wealth creation. And he got me into reading books like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I absolutely gobbled up, and Cash Flow Quadrant and everything else like that. And then I got into reading Think and Grow Rich, and just really that mindset training, and also a different way of looking at stuff. That was really my eureka, that I could have it all moment that in life. It wasn't just about health and wellness and everything else like that and trying to be the biggest, baddest person on the planet, but now I can do more and be more influential
Right. Right.
with the wealth creation.
Right. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Totally agree with that.
Hmm.
What was the hardest moment that you've had so far in your life, looking back?
Obviously, it would be, I've had bad luck with injuries. So obviously I was talking about the subluxation in my collarbone, which is quite hurtful, especially being in the fitness industry. You're not being a strong bencher kind of is looked upon because the bench press is like the Herculean that everybody compares themselves to. How much can you bench, right?
Right, right.
But I've suffered several different injuries along the way from work or other stuff. So and all these little injuries have put me into setbacks where it put me into a place where I wasn't really my best. So I severely sprained my ankle where I was on crutches for 2 months
Mm-hmm.
and then walking with a cane for almost a year after that.
Wow.
And then about a year later, I suffered my first neck injury. And then 4 months after that, I was in an elevator that fell 2 stories before the emergency brakes kicked in, and that compressed my neck. Now I was a big guy at that time. I weighed again because between the ankle injury and the first neck injury, that was when I actually pushed the forklift. So I was weighing about 270.
Wow.
Yeah. And again, you're 270, you're in an elevator, it's starting to free fall, and you're starting to go weightless at 270, and all of a sudden it stops and you crash. So that compressed my neck.
Yeah.
And gratefully, by the grace of God, I was able to walk away from that. I mean, it knocked me from being weightless to on my ass like that instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to walk away from that gratefully. All the muscle that I built up absorbed most of the shock. And one of the neat things that I found out from having x-rays done on my neck is my doctor, he was telling me about the spine. He's like, okay, we took a look at your spine. He goes, this is about the normal size of this vertebrae in the most person. He's exaggerating. And then he goes, the Greek, the Mediterraneans, because you see them with degenerative disc diseases, they get over, you see all the the grandmothers who are hunched over and everything.
Yeah.
So their spines is a lot smaller. And then he goes, then there's your spine, which is twice the size as normal. He's like, all that muscle you have and all that, and that spine size, that's why you walked away from the injury. But the shock did cause like a little bit of nerve impingement and everything else like that. So it took me a while to get back into the fitness routine.
Do you think that the heavy lifting and the heavy lifting had an impact on growing that skeleton a lot thicker? Because
I think it did have a bit of an impact as well. I think it's blessed with the genetics and that heavy lifting as well. I know I had recently an MRI done because I have tinnitus in my ear, and they were looking for brain anomalies and nerve anomalies in the spine, and they're like, and I'm 42, and the neurologist said, your spine's in amazing condition for your age. He when he was saying that, he was actually very shocked at how good it is. Yeah.
That's wow. That's wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yes.
So go ahead.
So yeah, the weight training definitely had an influence on the spine, and then just good genetics. And then after that, also 2 torn ligaments in my wrist, as you know.
Yes, I know. Hearing about it.
Yeah, we've had that conversation. So
many times.
Yeah.
So what steps do you personally take to get out of whatever, bad stuff that goes on?
I really try to, and I actually I do a daily wisdoms on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at Nicolaou Spiros, so Nicolaou Spiros. You can follow me. I do daily wisdom for success. I did one on one of the things is intelligent management of emotions, and the best way to do this is get ahead of it and set your intention for the day. So one of the big things is I do gratitude prayers every day. Another thing is if you're finding yourself getting having your emotions run away from you, because we are emotional creatures, between each activity. So if you're looking at emails and you're about to switch to going on the sales floor, making sales calls or something like that, just stop for a brief minute and just release everything from there, and then set an intention of what you want the next activity to look like and how you want to feel. And then the third thing is again, gratitude is the biggest thing. And I tell people, write down 5 things that you're grateful for, and then pour into somebody something that you're grateful for having them in your life for. You know, not only is saying 5 things that you're grateful for and writing them down going to really help you, but if you tell somebody what you're grateful for them and you pour greatness into them, that not only changes you, but that changes the person. And that's a whole new wavelength and vibration on both of your parts.
Yeah. Yeah. That is so true. That is so
Mm-hmm.
true. And I'm so glad that you said that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with everybody that's listening to this. If it wasn't for this guy right here, I would not be here. I would not have the courage to start up my business again. And I would definitely not have the courage to start up a podcast because I'm the world's largest introvert. So Spiros, I'm grateful for you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm grateful for your friend, and seeing your success has really motivated me to take it up a notch as well.
Awesome.
So a little bit of competition there.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I don't see it as competition. Collaboration. I see it as collaboration.
Collaboration. Better word.
Yeah. If you could pick up the phone right now and call yourself when you were 30 years old, what would you tell yourself?
Stop procrastinating and, you know, don't let the setbacks haunt you. I mean, when I was in my early 30s to mid 30s, that's when all these incidences happened, and it really got me down. So basically, that same advice for you about managing the emotions, that's what I would be giving myself when I was 30.
Very good.
You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are your next steps in life?
So my next steps is I want to grow businesses, and so with wealth creation, I want to grow multiple streams of wealth income, because I believe that I love Tony Robbins' definition of success, where it's to do what you want, when you want, where you want, with who you want, how often you want, and that's it. Like I want to be able to travel the world and see new places and meet new people. Fitness wise, now I've had a lot of setbacks within within my own personal fitness, but I want to get back into the gym, and I actually do want to do a master's competition in bodybuilding. And depending on how my wrist is and everything else like that, if I can get it repaired, maybe even do a strongman. Just one strongman or one powerlifting competition. Just to say I did it.
You'll get there. You'll get there. Keep lifting the power, the forklifts. You'll get there. What keeps you up at night?
You know, honestly, the way that this world is heading to, it seems like it's gone insane with everything, and it's hard to believe, like 10 years from now, to where the world's gone today. But I know that the best course of action to change the heart and minds of people is just to be that light, just to be that source of inspiration, right?
Yeah.
Jim Rohn would say is you see a lot of parents, they tell their kids that they're in the mess, but they leave the kids in the mess. And that's what I see the world today. So everybody's telling everybody that they're in a mess. They're in this state of victimhood, or they're not going to accomplish anything, and they just leave them in the mess without any inspiration of being better. And I think that needs to change.
Yeah. Well, there's the old saying too. The night is always darkest before the dawn.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that you want to say that you want to leave behind? You want to say to the world?
No, I just really my little saying at the end of each of my daily wisdoms is to love the truth, because you got to really, if you really want to be better, you've got to understand the truth. Like, and you and I know sometimes the truth will punch you in the gut just for punching in the gut, because it's there, it's unequivocal, it's undeviating, and sometimes you don't adjust your life to it, and it'll just give you a nice big slap in the face. But it's a good thing. I mean, it's telling you that you're not going in the right direction. So I always have the saying of love the truth. But in really, I want to tell everybody that, um, you know, you are a great person. You just have to discover that greatness in you.
Yeah. Usually life has a tendency of going a little bit lower in the gut for me. But just a couple of inches lower. But that's
Yeah,
it knows I can handle it.
absolutely.
So Spiros, thank you again so much for coming on the show. Again, for everybody out there, I highly recommend following Spee's Daily Wisdoms. They're really, really good. They've helped me quite a bit. You can, Spiro, where can they find you on Instagram and Facebook?
Well, Instagram, it's at my last name, which is NICOLAOU. And then my first name is SPIROS. And that's my Instagram handle. And then it's Spiros Nicolaou for my Facebook page with the SPIROS as well.
Is there anywhere else that people can find you?
Not right now. I'm hoping to maybe launch a YouTube channel.
Awesome.
Shortly.
I can't wait for that. That's going to be fun.
Yes.
So again, Spiros, thank you so much for doing this. And thank you so much for taking the time and being on the show. You are the first guest, so you are king of the mountain right now.
Thank you for having me on, and it's been an honor to be your first guest, John.
Awesome. So for everyone out there, wherever you may be, I wish you a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night, wherever you are in this crazy world.
All right. Have a good one.